There will come a moment in your life when the storm doesn't give you time to prepare. It just hits out of nowhere. The call you never expected, the betrayal you never imagined, the struggle you prayed wouldn't show up, yet it does. And in that moment, your strength ain't measured by how loud you speak, but by how still you can stand when everything around you falls apart. You see, pain has a way of knocking the wind out of you, taking your breath, clouding your vision. But I need you to understand something deep. Strength is not the absence of struggle. Strength is born inside the struggle. It grows when you have every reason to give up, but you don't. It rises when the tears won't stop falling, but you wipe your face, square your shoulders, and walk forward anyway. You may be tired, but you're not done. You may feel broken, but you're not defeated. You've come too far to let this chapter destroy your whole story. The world may not see it yet, but God placed something in you that no fire, no failure, and no force can extinguish. You are stronger than this situation. Now it's time to remember who you are. There comes a time when you've cried all the tears you thought you had. You've sat in silence long enough to hear your own heartbeat echo in the darkness. And in that stillness, you're faced with a question. What now? That's when purpose speaks. Not loud, not flashy, but steady. See, pain screams, but purpose whispers. And most people can't hear that whisper because they're so wrapped up in what hurt them that they forgot what drives them. You don't find strength just by pushing through. You find it when you stop asking, why me, and start asking, what now? Your purpose isn't destroyed by your pain. It's often discovered through it. The very thing you thought was breaking you could be molding you for something greater than you imagined, but only if you anchor yourself to it. Only if you decide that your life will mean more than your wounds. You see, the pain has a loud voice. It tells you that you're done, that you're stuck, that you're not enough. It shows up dressed as shame, dressed as fear, dressed as regret. And if you don't have something greater tied to your soul, you'll follow pain wherever it leads, and pain always leads to the pit. But purpose leads to power. You've got to make a decision. Right now, you're going to let what broke you define you, or will you rise and let it refine you? Don't you dare let a temporary moment of suffering erase a lifetime of potential. The enemy of your purpose is not your weakness, it's your willingness to forget why you started in the first place. Real strength isn't proven when everything's going right. It's proven when the storm hits and you're still standing. Even if you're shaking, you're still standing. There are going to be seasons when you're the only one who understands your vision. And there'll be days when even you start doubting it. That's when you remind yourself, this is bigger than how I feel right now. Feelings change, pain fades, but purpose remains. Purpose holds you up when motivation leaves. Purpose keeps your head above water when your heart is sinking. You're not waking up every day just to survive. You're waking up to become someone who can lead, inspire, and impact. And that takes grit. That takes pain. That takes nights alone, tears in secret, and battles no one else sees. But it also brings peace. It brings fire. It brings a clarity that no comfort zone ever offered. When you're anchored in purpose, life's winds can toss you, but they can't destroy you. I know some of you are hurting. You're walking through something heavy. You've been carrying it for so long, it's become part of you. But listen to me. Your pain is not your identity. It's a part of your story, but it's not the end of your book. Don't get so tangled in the past that you miss the calling on your future. If you stay anchored in what hurts you, you will relive it every day. But if you anchor yourself in your purpose, in what you're meant to become, that pain will become fuel. It'll drive you, not drown you. Every scar you carry has value, not because of what it took, but because of what it taught. And if you're brave enough to look deeper, you'll see that your scars are not signs of weakness. They are signs you survived what tried to kill you. And that is strength. When life cuts you deep, you've got two choices. Bleed out in bitterness or bandage that wound with belief. Belief in your future. Belief in your purpose. Belief in the fact that this moment is not your final destination. You've been through too much to quit now. And if nobody else told you today, let me be the one to say it. There's still something inside of you worth fighting for. You have a gift. You have a light. And even if it's flickering right now, that doesn't mean it's out. It just means it needs your attention. It needs your protection. Don't let the darkness convince you that your light was a lie. No. The fact that darkness is surrounding you is proof that your light is real and the enemy is trying to silence it. But you weren't built to be silent. You were built to shine. People won't always understand your path. Some will leave you when you're low. Some will mock the dream you're chasing. Let them. Their approval is not your purpose. Their acceptance is not your anchor. You have to get to a place where you stop waiting for permission to live on purpose. Because truth is, the longer you wait for validation, the more power you give to other people over your peace. And they didn't walk through your pain. They don't know the nights you wanted to quit. They didn't hear your prayers, see your tears, or feel your breaking points. So why let them define what you're capable of? Purpose isn't something they give you. It's something God planted deep in your bones before you even knew how to spell your own name. And if he planted it, nothing and no one can uproot it unless you let them. You got to wake up every day and choose to remember who you are and who you're becoming. Because sometimes the hardest battle is the one between the version of you that was broken and the version that is being born. You'll be tempted to go back, to shrink, to play it safe, to numb the pain instead of facing it. But I promise you, nothing grows in the comfort zone. You weren't made for safety. You were made for purpose. So when the fear shows up, you don't run. You stand, you breathe, and you fight. Not because you're fearless, but because your purpose is bigger than your fear. And that's where true strength begins. Not in denying the fear, but in walking through it anyway. You might be scared. That's okay. Be scared and keep going. Be uncertain and take the next step. Just don't stop. Pain will test you. It will ask you who you really are. It will strip away what's fake and force you to face what's real. That's not punishment. That's preparation. Your next level will not arrive dressed in ease. It will show up in resistance, in trials and stretching moments that feel like they might break you. But don't confuse pressure for punishment. The pressure you feel today could be the very thing forming the character, discipline, and fire you'll need tomorrow. Every purpose comes with a process. And most people quit in the middle of it because they thought strength meant feeling good. No. Strength means staying the course even when you feel nothing. Even when the fire feels too hot. Because somewhere in that fire, your new self is being formed. You can't avoid it. You've got to walk through it. Purpose is not passive. It's not something that lands in your lap while you sit and wait. Purpose requires pursuit. It demands presence. It requires a mindset that says, no matter what comes against me, I will keep moving. That's strength. Not loud, not flashy, just steady, just real. There's a quiet power in the person who refuses to quit. They may bend, but they won't break because they are not driven by comfort, applause, or ego. They are driven by meaning. And meaning keeps you rooted. Meaning keeps you alive when everything else feels empty. If you've lost that fire, go back to your why. Go back to what made you start. Go back to the version of you that believed before the world taught you how to doubt. That fire is still inside you. It just needs your permission to burn again. So when it gets dark, and it will, you look that pain in the face and say, you will not have the final word. Not today. Not ever. I will feel you, but I won't follow you. I will carry the lessons, but I will not carry the shame. I will bleed if I have to. I will cry if I need to, but I will never stop because I know who I am and I know why I'm here. I am not defined by what I lost. I'm defined by what I choose to be. And every day I wake up, I'm choosing to become stronger. Every setback is just setting up my comeback. Every no is clearing the path to my yes. Every delay is part of divine design. You can shake me, but you cannot take me off my purpose because I'm anchored. I'm rooted. I know who I am, and that is enough. There's a voice inside of you that no one else can hear, and that voice, it's the most powerful force in your life, not because it's always right, but because you believe it without question. It tells you who you are. It tells you what you're worth. It tells you what's possible. And if you don't take control of it, it will take control of you. That voice will echo every fear, every criticism, Every failure you've ever experienced, it will replay moments that broke you, that humiliated you, that scarred you. And if you're not intentional, you'll start living by a story that was written by pain, not purpose. You can't afford to let your inner dialogue go unchecked, because you will believe it. And once you believe it, you'll live it. Most people walk around defeated, not because of what's happening around them, but because of what's happening within them. The battle is rarely on the outside. The real war, it's in the mind. And if that inner voice has been fed doubt, comparison, insecurity, shame, then everything you touch will carry that energy. You'll sabotage blessings. You'll reject love. You'll downplay your own greatness because you've been convinced that you're not enough. But hear me right now. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind your thoughts. You can hear that voice and choose to challenge it. You don't have to accept every lie your mind throws at you. You can rewire the way you speak to yourself, because the way you speak to yourself is the way you lead yourself. When your inner dialogue is poisoned, your future is paralyzed. You keep dreaming of progress, but your mind keeps dragging you back into past pain. Every time you try to take a step forward, that voice reminds you of the last time you failed. Every time you start to believe in yourself, it brings up old doubts, old rejections, old mistakes. And unless you learn how to talk back, you'll never move forward. You've got to learn how to speak life to yourself when everything inside is screaming otherwise. You've got to look in the mirror and call yourself powerful even when you feel broken. You've got to call yourself worthy even when the world calls you worthless. Your words shape your world. And that starts inside, not outside. You don't need everyone to believe in you if you don't believe in you. You can be surrounded by support, praise, opportunity, and still stay stuck if your inner dialogue keeps telling you you're a fraud or a failure or that you'll never change. Let me tell you something. That voice isn't you. That's a broken record playing in the background from a time when you didn't know your value. But now you do. So stop letting old lies write your new chapters. It's time to reclaim your voice. You've got to choose what gets to live in your mind rent-free. If it doesn't serve you, strengthen you, build you, evict it. No more rehearsing pain. No more replaying worst-case scenarios. From this day forward, you speak to yourself with the same love, the same fire, the same truth you'd speak to someone you love. And I know it doesn't feel easy, because for years, that inner critic had the mic. It became your default setting. And every time something went wrong, it jumped in and said, "See, I told you so." But that critic was never speaking truth. It was speaking familiarity. It was feeding off repetition. And anything repeated long enough starts to feel real, even if it's a lie. But here's the beauty of the mind. It's trainable. You can choose different thoughts. You can practice speaking victory, peace, strength, clarity. It might feel unnatural at first, but that's just your mind resisting change. Push through it. Be relentless. Your new voice won't show up by accident. You have to build it word by word, affirmation by affirmation, truth by truth. Start noticing the tone you use with yourself. Would you speak to your child, your best friend, your loved one the way you speak to yourself? If not, something's wrong. Because you can't hate yourself into healing. You can't bully yourself into progress. And you definitely can't shame yourself into greatness. You need love, you need encouragement, you need patience. Give that to yourself. Be kind in your thoughts. Be gentle in your setbacks. Be fierce in your self-respect. Let your inner voice become your inner coach, not your inner critic. Let it push you forward, not pull you under. That doesn't mean lying to yourself. It means telling yourself the whole truth, not just the part that hurts. You've got flaws, yes. But you've also got strength. You've made mistakes, yes, but you've also made it through. Your inner dialogue will either be your prison or your passport. If it's full of chains, you'll stay locked in cycles of fear and hesitation. But if it's full of faith, you'll walk through doors you didn't even know were open. I'm telling you right now, shift your inner speech and your outer world will follow. People spend their whole lives waiting for circumstances to change, not realizing they had the key in their mouth all along. Speak peace and walk in peace. Speak power and you'll start walking in authority. Speak forgiveness and you'll finally be free from what they did to you. Your words are seeds. What are you planting in the garden of your mind? Because whatever you water in your thoughts will grow in your life. Sometimes you've got to get bold with it. Loud, not outside, but inside. When that voice says, you can't do this, you respond with, watch me. When it says, you're not enough, you say, I am chosen, I am capable, I am becoming. When it says, you're too late, you declare, I'm right on time for my destiny. This ain't about fake positivity. This is about standing on truth so firm, even the devil can't shake it. You are not a prisoner to your past thoughts. You are the creator of your present mindset. Take back your narrative, rewrite your self-talk, take the mic from the lies and hand it to your purpose. Speak with intention, speak with conviction, speak with the authority of someone who knows who they are and who they refuse to remain. You don't have to wait until you feel strong to speak strong. Sometimes the strength comes after the speaking. Life and death are in the power of your tongue. But that starts with what you're whispering in the quiet moments when no one's watching. When you're lying in bed with tears in your eyes. When you're staring at the ceiling wondering how you'll get through another day. That's when your inner voice matters most. And that's when you say, I may be down, but I'm not defeated. I may be tired, but I'm not done. I may be hurting, but healing is on the way. Keep saying it. Keep believing it. Keep breathing truth into your bones until your soul starts to rise again. This is how warriors are built. Word. So if you want to stay strong in any situation, you better master the one situation that follows you everywhere, your mind. Because if you win that battle, everything else falls in line. If you learn to speak life into yourself, no enemy can take that away. You become unshakable. You become untouchable. You become the kind of person who walks into chaos with calm, into storms with peace, into doubt with confidence. Not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. Your power, it's been there all along, just waiting for your voice to match it. And now that you know, it's time to use it. There will be moments in life when your heart feels like it's shattered into 1,000 unrecognizable pieces. When the weight of grief, betrayal, rejection, or failure presses so heavy on your chest you can barely breathe. In those moments, showing up feels impossible. You want to disappear. You want to hide. You want to run from everything, even yourself. But let me tell you something real. Those are the moments that shape who you are, not the easy ones, not the wins, not the applause, the broken moments. Because showing up while you're bleeding takes a different kind of strength. A strength that doesn't get praised, a strength that doesn't get trophies, but it's the kind of strength that builds unbreakable warriors. You don't wait to feel whole to keep moving. You move anyway. You fight anyway. You rise anyway. There is power in simply standing when everything in you wants to collapse. There is glory in choosing to face the world when your soul is screaming to shut it out. And don't you dare believe that being broken makes you weak. No, your brokenness is proof that you've lived, that you've felt deeply, that you risked love, dared to hope, faced real battles. The people with scars, they've walked through fire, and the fact that you're still here, still breathing, still waking up every day when it would have been easier to quit, that makes you extraordinary. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it all together. Just show up. Bruised, messy, hurting, but present. That alone is a revolution in a world that tells you to stay silent when you're in pain. People will tell you take time to heal, and yes, rest is necessary. But don't confuse healing with hiding. Don't confuse waiting with quitting. Healing happens in the movement. You've got to get up even when you're limping. You've got to take that next step even if your legs are shaking. Because healing is not passive, it's intentional. And every time you show up broken, you teach your pain, it doesn't own you. You tell the storm, I'm still standing. You tell the shame, you don't silence me. You tell the fear, you may visit, but you don't stay. That's what showing up broken does. It reclaims your power. And some days that might look like a whisper. Other days it might look like a war cry. But either way, you show up. You don't have to wait to be whole to be worthy. This world will try to convince you that you need to look perfect, feel strong, smile constantly. But that's not strength. That's performance. True strength is showing up authentically. It's walking into the day with tears still drying on your face. It's going to work, loving your family, pursuing your dreams with a heart that's still mending. It's calling someone when you don't feel like talking. It's praying when your faith feels like it's hanging on by a thread. That's real. That's human. And that's where your power lives, not in the polished moments, but in the raw ones. You are allowed to be both shattered and strong. You are allowed to be in pieces and still move with purpose. Don't underestimate the courage it takes to face life while feeling broken. It's easy to show up when things are going right, but the ones who show up when everything's falling apart, those are the champions no one sees. You might not get applause, you might not get recognition, but heaven sees you, and your future self will thank you. Because showing up while broken teaches you something wholeness never could. It shows you the strength of your spirit, the size of your fight, the depth of your soul. You stop waiting for perfect conditions. You stop waiting for the pain to pass. You say, this is who I am today, and I'm showing up anyway. That's freedom. That's healing. That's becoming. You are not disqualified because of your brokenness. You are being refined by it. The cracks in your soul, that's where the light gets in. That's where grace pours in. That's where empathy is born, because people who've walked through pain, who've tasted sorrow, who've carried disappointment, those are the ones who change the world. They lead with compassion. They understand struggle. They don't judge, they connect. So don't hide your brokenness. Don't wait to be picture perfect to live your life. The world doesn't need another mask. It needs your realness, your courage, your story. Brokenness doesn't mean you're done. It means you're human, and it means your story is still being written. With fire, with grit, with unwavering spirit. You've cried through nights no one knew about. You fought through days you didn't think you'd survive. And yet, here you are. Maybe limping, maybe scarred, maybe exhausted, but still here. That matters. That's proof of your resilience. And even if you feel like you've got nothing left, even if every breath feels like a battle, show up. One moment at a time, one decision at a time. Show up for yourself, for your healing, for the future that still has your name on it. You don't have to run. You don't have to sprint. But don't stop. Crawl if you have to. Whisper if you can't shout. Just don't stop showing up. Because every step you take while broken becomes a monument of your strength. There will be people who won't understand, who question why you're still trying, still believing, still pushing forward when life has beaten you down. Let them talk. They weren't built like you. They don't carry your vision. They don't hear the silent prayers you've cried. They don't see the dreams you refuse to bury. They don't understand the fire in your chest that still burns despite everything. So don't wait for their approval. Don't look for their permission. Keep showing up with your pain, with your hope, with your unexplainable persistence, because someday soon that persistence will birth a breakthrough. That pain will become purpose. That brokenness will become your testimony, and the world will see what God was doing all along. You are being rebuilt in the fire, molded through the chaos, strengthened through every tear, every heartache, every lonely night. And as hard as it feels, this breaking isn't the end. It's the beginning of a new version of you, one that's not dependent on the opinions of others, one that doesn't need to prove anything to anyone, one that walks with quiet confidence, forged from suffering, tested by time. That version of you is on the way, but the only way to meet them is to keep showing up, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. The ones who rise while broken don't just survive, they inspire. They become a light for others still walking through the dark. So yes, you, keep going, because your breakthrough is born in your persistence, not your perfection. There are moments in life when everything feels like it's crashing down at once. The sky turns black, the winds howl, and nothing feels steady beneath your feet. That's the storm. And most people, they wait it out. They duck, they hide, they press pause on their life, believing that only when the skies are clear again can they begin to move forward. But let me ask you something real. What if the storm doesn't pass anytime soon? What if the rain keeps coming? What if the winds keep blowing? You cannot afford to sit on the sidelines of your own life waiting for peace before you take action. Growth doesn't happen in the calm. It's born in the chaos. It's built in the pressure. It's carved in the storm. That pain you're feeling, that fear that's surrounding you, it's not your enemy, it's your teacher. That storm is trying to introduce you to a version of yourself you never knew existed. But you'll never meet them if you stay stuck, frozen, hoping for comfort before you move. You've got to grow in it, not around it, not after it, in it. Every strong tree has one thing in common. It has survived some violent storms. The roots run deep because they had to. The bark thickened because it needed to. The branches still stretch toward the sky even though they've been battered by wind and broken by lightning. That's you. You are that tree. This storm you're in, it's not to destroy you, it's to deepen you. You grow strength not by escaping the battle, but by staying in it. You grow resilience not by waiting for it to stop hurting, but by standing while it does. You grow wisdom not by avoiding failure, but by rising after every single one. So don't wait for the storm to pass. Stop waiting for perfect timing. Stop waiting for peace, for people to understand you, for the world to calm down before you pursue what's in your heart. Life won't give you that. You have to take claim your next level. Dig deep, even while the winds howl around you. You see, pressure is not a punishment, it's a preparation. Diamonds are made under pressure, steel is forged in fire, and character, it's formed in the storms. You may be wondering, why now? Why this? And the answer isn't always clear in the middle of the mess. But later, when you look back, you'll understand that storm taught you how to pray harder, how to love deeper, how to fight smarter, how to value peace, how to walk away from what wasn't growing you. That storm revealed who was real, what was necessary, and who you were meant to become. Storms reveal. They expose the weak foundations. They tear down what's not built to last. But they also water what you've planted. They cleanse, they create new soil. And most importantly, you're not being buried in this moment. You're being planted. The ones who rise the highest in life are not the ones who had the smoothest roads. They're the ones who learned how to walk through fire without losing their soul, who took the storms and let them sharpen their faith, shape their discipline, deepen their roots. You can't become who you're meant to be without hardship, and the world may not see your effort right now. People may overlook your battle, but that's okay. You don't need a crowd to grow. You need persistence. You need focus. You need the audacity to keep building in the rain, to keep sowing seeds in the mud, to keep trusting that what feels like chaos today is cultivating your strength for tomorrow. That's where real leaders are born. Not in peace, but in pressure. It's easy to have faith when the sun is shining. It's easy to feel motivated when everything's going right. But the kind of faith that moves mountains, that kind of belief is forged in the storm. When you've got every reason to quit, but you don't. When it makes no sense to keep going, but you do. When your heart's heavy, your mind's tired, and yet you still rise. That's power. That's purpose. That's proof that you're not just chasing dreams, you're walking in destiny. The storm doesn't cancel your calling, it confirms it. It tests your readiness. It shakes off what can't go with you to the next level. So stop praying for the storm to leave. Start praying for the strength to grow through it. Let it teach you, let it mold you, let it shape you into the warrior you were always meant to be. There is a version of you on the other side of this storm who walks with a different kind of authority. A version who doesn't shrink anymore, who doesn't fear rejection, who doesn't second guess their voice. That version of you doesn't come from waiting in comfort. That version is born when you look the storm in the eye and say you picked the wrong one. That version of you shows up when you stop asking why me and start asking what now. So don't waste this storm. Don't waste the lessons it's carrying. Don't numb it. Don't avoid it. Don't deny it. Face it with everything you've got. Lean into it. Learn from it. Let it grow you until you're unrecognizable to the version of you who once begged to avoid discomfort. You've got to understand, this storm will pass, yes, but who you become in it will last forever. Storms will come again. Life doesn't stop being hard, but if you grow now, you'll be ready later. If you learn to dance in the rain, you'll never wait for sunny skies to be joyful again. And once you've walked through enough storms, you stop fearing them. You stop dreading them. You start to recognize the signs and say, okay, this means I'm about to level up. Let's go. Because it's not about avoiding pain anymore. It's about transforming through it. You were not made to sit still and be safe. You were made to walk through storms and come out wiser, stronger, freer. And you will, if you don't give up. Right now, it may feel like you're barely hanging on, like you're doing everything you can just to survive. But survival is not failure. Survival is strength. And even while you're holding on, even if by a thread, you're growing. Every breath you take while in pain is growth. Every choice to believe in yourself while the winds scream otherwise is growth. To hold on. Storms don't mean you're weak. They mean you're in training. They mean your breakthrough is being built in silence. And one day soon, what looked like destruction will be revealed as preparation for your next level of purpose. You are not the storm. You are the one walking through it. You are not a victim of the chaos. You are the eye within it, the stillness, the power, the presence. You may feel surrounded by darkness right now, but let me tell you, the most beautiful things are born in the dark. Seeds sprout in the soil, stars shine in the night, and strength, that's grown when no one's watching, when no one's clapping, when all you've got is your grit and your God. So trust this season. Trust that something divine is happening even in the mess, that growth is not distant. It's happening now. In your tears, in your struggle, in your decision to show up anyway. That is growth. That is power. That is purpose. There comes a time in life when you realize that survival, growth, and success aren't just about what you do, it's about who you're doing it with. Who's standing next to you in the fire? Who's speaking life over you when you feel like giving up? Who's clapping when you win and staying when you lose? Not everyone around you is there to support your purpose. Some people are weeds. They drain you. They hide in your circle while rooting against your progress. And then there are warriors, the ones who fight beside you, who believe in you even when you don't believe in yourself. You've got to get serious about the people you allow in your life. This isn't about judgment. It's about protection. Your purpose is too valuable to be surrounded by voices that distract, diminish, or discourage you. You were not born to shrink for the comfort of others. You were born to rise. And that kind of elevation requires people who can breathe courage into your lungs and call out the greatness inside you when life is trying to bury it. You see, weeds grow fast and they grow everywhere. They don't need your permission to pop up. They blend in. They look harmless. But what they do over time is choke out the roots of anything meaningful. They crowd your space, consume your energy, and block your light. That's what toxic people do. They may come disguised as friends, even family, but their presence drains your drive. Their words plant doubt. Their habits pull you backwards. And if you're not careful, they'll have you questioning your worth, delaying your dreams, and lowering your standards just to keep the peace. That's not love. That's not loyalty. That's sabotage disguised as companionship. You've got to be bold enough to do the one thing most people are afraid to do. Cut the weeds. Even if they've been around forever, even if they once meant something, you cannot elevate in life if your environment is full of people who are committed to staying small. Now contrast that with warriors. Warriors don't compete with you, they complete the mission beside you. They challenge you, but not to hurt you, to sharpen you. They correct you when you're off track, not to embarrass you, but to keep your purpose in focus. Warriors don't feed your excuses, they confront them. They don't coddle your fears, they remind you of your strength. A real warrior friend will see you breaking and speak resurrection over you. They'll remind you who you are. They don't let you settle, they don't let you quit, and they'll walk with you through the storm without needing to be seen. Warriors are rare, and that's exactly why you need to guard your circle. Because when your life gets heavy, and it will, you need people who don't just show up when it's convenient, you need people who show up when it's hard. Who pray for you when you're silent, who speak hope when your faith is low. That's a warrior circle. Some people only love you when you're easy to love, when you're successful, when you're smiling. But the ones who love you when you're not lovable, when you're messy, broken, and doubting everything, that's who you hold on to. Warriors don't flinch at your darkness. They don't flee at your vulnerability. They lean in. They lift. They help you fight back. You see, the people around you are either watering your purpose or poisoning your progress. There is no in between. You've got to choose. Do you want applause from the weeds or accountability from the warriors? Do you want company that entertains your comfort or companionship that calls you higher? Because you can't fly if you keep tying your wings to people who are afraid of heights. You were never meant to shrink to fit into small spaces. Surround yourself with people who make room for your wing. There are folks in your life right now who don't want you to rise, not because they hate you, but because your rising makes them confront their own stagnation. Your growth reminds them of everything they're avoiding in their own life. And so instead of rising with you, they'll try to slow you down. They'll tell you to be realistic. They'll laugh when you dream out loud. They'll downplay your vision, not because it's not powerful, but because deep down they know it is. And it scares them. You've got to recognize that not everyone is meant to go where you're going. Some folks are only assigned to a chapter, not the whole story. And keeping them longer than they're meant to stay, that's how you stay stuck in cycles that were meant to end. But loyalty is powerful, but blind loyalty is dangerous. Just because someone's been with you through the past doesn't mean they're equipped for your future. Elevation requires evaluation. You've got to stop asking, do they love me? And start asking, do they grow me? Do they challenge me? Do they honor my purpose? Because your future will be shaped by who you let speak into your present. That's not just friendship. That's legacy. You don't become great by walking alone, but you don't become free by walking with the wrong people either. You need alignment. You need clarity. And you need the courage to make cuts even when it hurts. Sometimes pruning is painful, but it's necessary for growth. One of the hardest truths you'll ever accept is this: some people are only committed to the old you. They can't handle the evolved you, the disciplined you, the dreaming you, the healing you. And that's okay. But if you keep shrinking to keep them close, you'll betray everything you're becoming. You weren't put on this earth to babysit someone else's insecurity. You've got dreams to chase, battles to win, a legacy to leave. So start building your circle with intention. Look for those who see your scars and still salute you. People who don't just listen to your words, but feel your heart. Warriors walk with honor. They live with love. And they never let you forget that you're stronger than your circumstance. Energy is contagious. That's not just a nice quote, it's a law. You spend enough time with people who complain and you'll start complaining. You hang around people who gossip and you'll find yourself feeding on negativity. But if you walk with warriors, those who speak purpose, those who grind with faith, those who get up no matter how many times they fall, that will transform you. Warriors don't need a stage. They don't need a spotlight, but their presence speaks volumes. You'll feel safer around them. You'll feel seen. You'll feel challenged in the best way. And you'll begin to rise, not by force, but by association. That's the power of your environment. You weren't made to walk this journey alone, but you also weren't made to carry dead weight. Every season of your life will demand a new level of you, and with it, a new circle. Don't be afraid to outgrow people. Don't apologize for setting standards. You're not being mean, you're being clear, and clarity is kindness. This is your life, your calling, your legacy, and who you allow close enough to influence your spirit that matters more than you know. Choose warriors, because when the battles of life hit, and they will hit, you won't rise alone. You'll rise surrounded. There's a difference between breathing and living, a difference between surviving and rising. Too many of us are out here waking up every day just to make it through, just to exist, just to check boxes and call it life. But let me tell you something straight. You were not born just to survive. You were not created to crawl through life hoping the pain would end. There's power inside of you that this world hasn't even seen yet. There's greatness buried beneath your fear, your fatigue, your wounds. And that greatness is crying out, let me rise. But rising isn't comfortable. Rising means leaving behind survival mode. It means refusing to let your story be defined by trauma. It means saying, yes, I've been through hell. Yes, I've been knocked down, but this is not where my story ends. That's what rising looks like. It's not about perfection. It's about presence. It's about purpose. It's about waking up and deciding that no matter what yesterday looked like, today I'm taking one step toward who I'm meant to be. You've survived some things that should have broken you. Don't you dare overlook that. You've survived heartbreak, betrayal, financial struggle, maybe the loss of people you loved more than life itself. You've survived your own doubt, your own self-sabotage. That's not nothing. That's evidence of strength, even if you didn't feel strong at the time. But here's the part they don't tell you. Survival is step one. It's the beginning. It's the part where you catch your breath. But after you survive, you've got to decide, will I rebuild? Will I rise? Will I grow from this? Or will I keep reliving the same pain just because it's familiar? Some people get addicted to the identity of surviving. They wear it like a badge. But if you stay there too long, you'll miss the blessing of becoming more. And on the other side of that door is the life you were meant to lead. I know survival feels safe. I know it feels like control. You keep your head down. You don't risk much. You don't feel much. And that way you don't get hurt again. But let me tell you what else you miss. You miss love. You miss purpose. You miss joy. You miss the version of yourself that doesn't just endure, but thrives, that dares, that dreams, that fights for something deeper. You weren't made to be numb. You weren't made to just get by. There's more in you. But to get to that more, you got to confront the habits and beliefs that survival mode taught you. That it's safer to stay small. That risk is dangerous. That dreaming is pointless. That hope is naive. You've got to look those lies in the face and say, not anymore. You're not here to be a prisoner of your past. You're here to be a product of power. The kind of power that only comes from walking through the fire and choosing to rise anyway. You ever see someone come out of a storm and they're not just alive, they're glowing, they're wiser, softer, sharper. That's not luck, that's intention. That's someone who chose to take their pain and let it shape them, not shatter them. That's someone who said, if I'm still breathing, I'm still building. You've got that in you, you just forgot. You let the world convince you that survival was all you deserved. That healing wasn't possible. That peace was for other people. But I'm here to tell you, your future is not canceled just because your past was painful. You get to rewrite the script. You get to turn the page. You get to become someone you've never been, not in spite of the pain, but because of it. Don't let what you went through become your ceiling. Let it be your floor. Let it be the foundation you build a higher life on. You know what survival mode does? It teaches you to expect the worst, to look over your shoulder, to assume that good things are temporary, and eventually it becomes your default setting. You start bracing for heartbreak before love even shows up. You sabotage opportunities because you don't feel worthy. You push people away because you're afraid they'll leave. That's not living. That's preparing to lose. And if you keep preparing to lose, you'll never learn how to win. You've got to retrain your soul to believe again, to believe that you're not cursed, to believe that your best chapters haven't even been written yet. You're not too old. You're not too late. You're not too damaged. You're just getting started. But starting requires courage. The courage to take one step without knowing all the answers. The courage to forgive yourself. The courage to release the identity of the broken version of you. Survival kept you breathing. Now it's time to start living. Let me make something clear. Rising doesn't mean you never fall. It doesn't mean you don't cry, don't doubt, don't struggle. It means you get back up anyway. It means you fight for your joy, for your peace, for your purpose. It means when life tries to bury you, you push through the soil and reach for the sun. You may still have scars, that's okay. You don't need to hide them. Your scars are proof that you healed, that you endured, that you chose to continue. Don't hide what you've overcome. Use it. Let it be the reason someone else gets up off the floor. Let it be the fire that fuels your next chapter. You're not just a survivor. You're a teacher, a light, a warrior. That's who you are. Don't forget it just because life's been heavy. Heavy doesn't mean hopeless. It means you're carrying weight, and weight builds strength. If you listen, every day you wake up is a chance to shift from surviving to rising, to ask yourself, am I just making it through, or am I becoming who I'm meant to be? Are my habits aligned with my healing or my hurt? Am I staying small to avoid disappointment, or am I stepping out in faith even when it's scary? These are the questions that change lives. And you owe it to yourself to ask them. Because if you don't, you'll wake up one day and realize you built a whole life out of fear instead of faith. Don't let that be your story. Don't let comfort rob you of calling. Don't let survival convince you that thriving is for other people. It's for you. It's always been for you. You just needed to remember. The people around you might not understand why you're changing, why you're letting go of the old story, why you're no longer content just getting by. And that's okay. You're not rising for their approval. You're rising because you were born to. You're rising because something inside you is tired of playing small, tired of the excuses, tired of pretending. You're okay with average. You're not average. You're not mediocre. You're not here to blend in. You're here to rise. And sometimes that rise is lonely. Sometimes it's misunderstood. But the view from the top is worth every lonely step. So keep climbing, keep building, keep becoming. This isn't just your comeback. This is your awakening. You've got to understand there's someone out there watching you right now, quietly, silently, hoping you don't quit, hoping you prove that healing is possible, that joy after trauma is real, that life after loss still has meaning. Your rise is not just about you. It's about everyone who will be inspired because you didn't stay down, because you didn't let survival be the final sentence, because you decided that no matter what tried to bury you, you were the seed. And seeds, they grow in the dark. You're growing right now, even if it doesn't feel like it. You're becoming something powerful, something unshakable, something divine. So don't stop now. The world needs the version of you that doesn't just breathe, but burns. You don't come out of life untouched. You don't walk through betrayal, heartbreak, loss, failure, or trauma without some part of you getting cut. And those cuts, they leave scars. Some people try to hide their scars. They cover them up, numb them, pretend they never existed. But that's not strength. That's denial. And denial keeps you bound. It keeps you locked in a cage built by the very pain you survived. But I'm here to tell you, your scars are not your shame. They are your proof, your evidence, your story. They say, I've been through something, but I didn't stay there. I got out. I healed. I moved forward. That's power. That's legacy. Your scars are not ugly. They're not signs of weakness. They are divine tattoos of survival, of grace, of redemption. Don't let the world shame you into silence. Don't let anyone tell you that your past disqualifies you from your future. The very thing you think discredits you is what makes you unstoppable. What you thought was breaking you was building you. Let your scars speak. Not of pain, but of purpose. Not of wounds, but of wisdom. Not of loss, but of life. Every scar tells a story, but it's up to you what kind of story it tells. See, a scar can chain you down or set you free. It all depends on how you carry it. Some folks carry their scars like burdens. They replay the hurt over and over, let it haunt their minds, control their relationships, sabotage their peace. They let the past dictate their present. But then there are others, the warriors, the ones who take those same scars and turn them into a message, a mission, a movement. They say, this happened to me, but it didn't kill me. It didn't own me, and it damn sure won't define me. That's the difference. The pain you've been through can either paralyze you or propel you. That choice, it's yours. You don't have to forget what happened. You don't have to pretend it didn't hurt. But you do have to decide, will I keep bleeding or will I begin leading? Will I stay bound to the moment I was broken, or will I rise and use it to become unbreakable? That's a choice you have to make. Will I stay bound to the moment I was broken, or will I rise and use it to become unbreakable? The scar on your heart is sacred. It's a place where something painful once lived, but it no longer bleeds. And in that healing, there's a story someone else desperately needs. There's a person right now drowning in the pain you already swam through. They need to know survival is possible. They need to see that joy can return. And guess what? You're the evidence. That's why your story matters. That's why your scar matters. You are someone else's light in the dark. You're the proof that tragedy isn't the end. You're the voice that says, I've been there and I'm still standing. But to be that light, you've got to stop hiding the hurt. Stop running from the reflection. Look your story in the face and say, you made me wiser, you made me stronger, you made me me. That level of self-acceptance is where the chains fall off. That's where shame loses its grip. That's where freedom begins. Your scars can't shackle you if you choose to carry them with purpose. They can only control you if you keep pretending they don't exist. I know some of your scars are fresh. I know some of them still sting. Maybe you're not even sure how to talk about them yet. That's okay. Healing is a process, not a performance. You're allowed to take your time. You're allowed to cry. You're allowed to sit in the pain. But don't you dare unpack your life there. Don't you dare settle in the place where you were wounded. You don't owe your pain a permanent home. You owe yourself movement. You owe yourself growth. The world may have left you broken, but healing is your rebellion. Getting better, that's your victory. The moment you say, I will not let this be the end of me, you reclaim your power. You step into a different realm, one where your scars no longer whisper, you're weak, but shout, you're still here. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to make one decision. I will not be shackled to what tried to destroy me. I will not walk through life like a victim when I was born to be a vessel for strength. When you let your scars tell your story, you stop pretending. You stop hiding behind perfection. You show up real. You show up vulnerable. And that's where real connection begins. Because people don't relate to your success. They relate to your struggle. They don't care how perfect your life looks. They care whether you understand their pain. They care whether you've walked through something and made it out. Your scars become your bridge. They build trust. They say, I've been broken too, but I'm not ashamed of it. That kind of honesty is magnetic. That kind of honesty changes lives. It breaks cycles. It inspires truth. So many of us wear masks just to fit in. But healing, that starts when the mask comes off. When we say, this is who I am, this is what I've lived through, and this is how I rise every day despite it. Letting your scars be seen isn't weakness. It's courage. It's authenticity. It's power. And that kind of power doesn't just set you free, it sets everyone around you free too. Too many people are living shackled to silence. They've locked away their story because they think no one will understand. But the truth is, your silence only empowers your shame. And shame loves the dark. Shame grows in isolation. It feeds on secrecy. But the moment you speak, the moment you share, you take the weapon out of shame's hands. You say, I won't be bullied by my past anymore. And that's when your scars become sacred. They become symbols of transformation, not trauma. You see, the devil can't use what you're no longer ashamed of. The world can't mock what you've already mastered. So speak, write, share, create. Turn your scars into art, into service, into purpose. Let your pain birth something powerful. That's what the great ones do. They don't stay bitter, they build. They don't stay stuck, they rise. And they don't wait until they're fully healed to begin helping others. They use what they've got as they are and trust their purpose will meet them in the process. You were never meant to be perfect, you were meant to be real. And real people bleed, real people break, but real people also rebuild. They rise, they evolve. Don't spend your life trying to erase your past. Embrace it. Own it. Use it. The version of you that made it through the darkest days, that version of you has strength no textbook can teach. That version of you has strength no motivational quote can deliver. That version has insight that can only be earned by pain. So stop apologizing for what you've been through. Stop shrinking so others don't feel uncomfortable around your truth. You didn't survive just to play small. You survived so you could walk with power. You survived so your life could speak. So when people ask what shaped you, show them the scar. Say, here, this one. This is where I almost gave up. But I didn't. That's not weakness. That's legacy. That's the story your soul came to tell. Think about this. If every scar you carry had a voice, what would they say? Would they speak of the moments you almost let go but didn't? Would they echo the nights you cried yourself to sleep but woke up anyway? Would they shout about the time you trusted again, even after betrayal? Those scars carry truth. They carry power. And when you stop seeing them as ugly and start seeing them as holy, everything shifts. You stop hiding. You stop shrinking. You stop apologizing. You start living with a new kind of boldness, a new kind of beauty. You look in the mirror and see not what's missing, but what you've overcome. You stand taller. You love deeper. You give more grace. Because people who've been through hell and healed, they love different. They see different. They lead different. And that kind of person, they're unstoppable because nothing the world throws at them can unmake what they've already become. You may not be proud of everything in your past. You may have regrets. You may have chapters you don't want to read out loud, but guess what? You're still worthy. You're still chosen. You're still called. And every part of your story, even the messy parts, has a place in your purpose. You're not here by accident. You're here on assignment. And part of that assignment is turning your pain into power, your past into purpose, your scars into strength. You don't have to be perfect to be powerful. You don't have to have it all figured out to make a difference. You just have to be willing. Willing to rise, willing to heal, willing to speak, willing to walk forward, even with scars. Because the truth is, scars are not chains, they are testimonies. And when you carry them right, they stop being shackles and start becoming wings. My friend, if you've made it this far, then I know you've felt the weight of this journey. You've carried burdens others never saw. You've fought battles no one clapped for. You've woken up on days when hope felt like a stranger and strength felt like a lie. But still, you showed up. Still, you breathed. Still, you pressed forward. And that alone is the mark of a warrior. But now, it's time to go beyond just making it. It's time to rise into the version of yourself that this world desperately needs. Not the one shaped by fear or rejection, not the one chained by survival, but the one who remembers who they are and why they're here. That's where your power lives. You were not put on this earth to merely exist in survival mode. You were designed with a fire that can light up valleys, shake mountains, and make darkness tremble. But that fire needs your permission. It needs your choice. No matter how broken you feel, no matter what you've lost, no matter who walked away, you still have the ability to show up, to choose growth in the storm, to speak to yourself like someone worth saving, and to surround yourself with those who lift, not drain. You still have the authority to rewrite the narrative, to look at your pain and say, you're not the end of me, you're the beginning of something greater. Let this be the reminder you needed. You are not here just to endure. You are here to expand. You are here to love harder, live louder, shine brighter. The world needs the raw, real, resilient version of you, not some polished, perfect shell, but the you that got back up with trembling hands and a burning heart. The you that didn't let the trauma define the legacy. The you that lets scars speak of survival, not surrender. The you that builds not just a life, but a legacy of healing, hope, and strength. You have everything you need inside of you. Not when you're finally ready, not when it's safe, not when it's perfect, but now, right now. So take this moment and declare to yourself, I will no longer shrink. I will no longer run. I will no longer wait for someone to rescue me. Because the truth is, everything you need to rise is already within you. And when you rise, when you live with purpose, when you carry the weight and still keep walking, you give others permission to rise too. That's the ripple. That's the power. That's what legacy looks like. And that's why you were never born just to survive. You were born to lead, to lift, and to live fully alive. Thank you for allowing me to speak into your life. May your heart be steady, your path be clear, and your soul remain unshakable. You're stronger than you know and more needed than you realize. Keep rising. God bless you. Thank you.